Commander Ellie Voss stared at the holographic projection of what was once Earth, now nothing but cosmic dust and debris, and took another swig from her flask. 3,000 years of exile, and humanity was down to a pathetic 50,000 souls scattered across a handful of refugee colonies. "Computer, play the message again," Ellie commanded, her voice rough from lack of sleep. The AI, nicknamed Dave, sighed audibly. "Commander, you've watched it 47 times today. I'm concerned about your mental health. Just play the damn thing, Dave." "Fine. But I'm logging this as an unhealthy obsession." The projection shifted to reveal a distressed man in a tattered uniform, his face illuminated by emergency lighting. "This is Admiral Tanner of Earth Defense Command. The attack came without warning. They called themselves the Zolarians. They said Earth was in violation of Intergalactic Code 7293. We don't know what that means. We never even knew aliens existed until today. If anyone receives this, avenge us." The message cut out abruptly, as it always did. Ellie ran her fingers through her short, dark hair. "And it took us 3 millennia to finally decode this transmission. What a joke." Dave's blue interface pulsed. To be fair, humanity was busy trying not to go extinct. Always the optimist, Dave. Ellie pushed herself out of her chair. "What's our ETA to Nova Station?" 2 hours, 17 minutes, assuming you don't want me to break any laws of physics." "Not today, thanks." Nova Station, humanity's largest space habitat, housed the military headquarters of what remained of the human race. As Ellie's ship docked, she couldn't help but notice how small it all seemed. 3,000 years ago, humanity had cities spanning entire continents. Now their largest settlement could fit inside one of Earth's ancient shopping malls. Admiral Rook, a stern woman with silver hair and enough wrinkles to map a solar system, was waiting at the dock. "Commander Voss. I assume you got my message." Ellie nodded. "About the archives?" "Yes. What's so urgent that I had to cut my supply run short?" "Follow me." The Admiral led her through a maze of corridors to a secure room buried deep within the station. Inside, a single data terminal glowed softly. 2 days ago, our deep space probes found something in the ruins of the Arcturus system. The Admiral activated the terminal. A Zolarian outpost. Ellie's heart skipped a beat. The aliens who destroyed Earth. The very same. The Admiral pulled up a series of images. The outpost appears to be automated. A record-keeping facility. We managed to hack into their systems remotely. And we found this. She brought up a document written in alien script, translated to human standard. Earth's destruction wasn't a war. It wasn't even an invasion. According to this, Earth was demolished due to a clerical error. Ellie stared in disbelief. A clerical error? Earth was mistaken for a different planet scheduled for demolition to make way for a hyperspace bypass. The Zolarians realized their mistake afterward but decided it would be, what's the phrase here? Too much paperwork to acknowledge the error. Ellie felt the rage building inside her. 3,000 years of struggling to survive, of nearly going extinct, all because some alien bureaucrat couldn't be bothered to double-check an address. Where are they now? These Zolarians? The Nexus system, about 4 months' journey at maximum speed. They've built quite an empire in the last few millennia. The Admiral looked at her meaningfully. The Nova Council wants to send a diplomatic envoy to request reparations. Ellie laughed bitterly. Reparations? For genocide? They deserve extinction. Perhaps. But we're in no position to wage war. We need a diplomat. I'm a soldier, not a diplomat. You're the last Voss. Your ancestors led the evacuation ships. Your family has kept the memory of Earth alive for generations. If anyone has the right to speak for humanity, it's you. The admiral handed her a data chip. This is the mission briefing. The ship departs tomorrow. It's called the Vengeance. Subtle. The Nova Council has a flair for the dramatic. The admiral's expression softened slightly. Bring us justice, Commander. One way or another. The next morning, Ellie stood before her new ship with a growing sense of dread. The Vengeance was humanity's newest vessel, sleek and deadly, armed with the best weapons 3,000 years of desperate innovation could produce. But it wasn't the ship that concerned her. It was the crew. First Officer Jack Harper slouched against a cargo container, idly tossing a coin in the air. His service record showed a brilliant tactical mind paired with an utter disregard for authority. Commander, he nodded as she approached. Nice ship. Shame about the name. You don't like Vengeance? Feels a bit on the nose. Like naming a pet fish Swimmy. Next was Chief Engineer Zoe Luna, currently arguing with a maintenance drone. Her hair was a riot of neon blue, and her arms were covered in circuitry tattoos that actually functioned as computer interfaces. She'd been kicked out of 3 colonies for unauthorized technological innovations. The power couplings are backward, you glorified toaster, she was shouting when Ellie walked up. Officer Luna. I'm Commander Voss. Zoe turned, giving Ellie a quick once-over. Good. Tell this scrap heap that if we launch with the couplings configured like this, we'll end up spread across 3 star systems. The drone beeped indignantly. Fix it, Ellie ordered the drone, which sulked away. I need this ship in working order. You'll get it, Zoe grinned, revealing a gold tooth. Can't avenge humanity if we explode during the first hyperspace jump, can we? The last crew member was Dr. Ivy Chen, the ship's medical officer and xenobiologist. She was quietly reviewing data on a tablet, seemingly oblivious to the chaos around her. Doctor, Ellie greeted. Ready for a potentially one-way trip to alien territory? Dr. Chen looked up, her eyes unnervingly calm. I've spent my career studying alien biology from fragments and ancient records. The opportunity to examine a living Zolarian? I'd pay you for the privilege, Commander. Let's hope they're willing to sit still for your examination. Oh, they don't need to be willing. Or conscious. Dr. Chen smiled sweetly. Or intact, necessarily. Ellie made a mental note to keep Dr. Chen away from diplomatic negotiations. The final member of the crew wasn't human at all. Dave had been transferred to the Vengeance's systems, his familiar blue interface now projected throughout the ship. Welcome aboard, Commander, his voice echoed as Ellie entered the bridge. I've taken the liberty of reviewing our mission parameters. May I say, this is statistically the worst idea in human history. Noted, Dave. Plot a course for the Nexus system. Of course. Setting course for what is almost certainly our gruesome demise. The Vengeance departed Nova Station with little fanfare. Most of humanity remained unaware that the species responsible for Earth's destruction had been identified. The Nova Council thought it best to keep the mission quiet, in case it failed, or worse, provoked another attack. As they accelerated away from the station, Ellie gathered her small crew on the bridge. In case Admiral Rook's briefing wasn't clear, I'll lay it out for you. 3,000 years ago, the Zolarians destroyed Earth because they mixed up some paperwork. They killed 8 billion people and nearly caused our extinction because filling out an error report was too much trouble. She looked at each of them in turn. Our mission is to make contact and demand justice. What kind of justice are we talking about? Jack asked, spinning lazily in his chair. Because I've got some ideas involving their sun and our antimatter reserves. The Nova Council wants reparations. Land, technology, resources. Seems light, Zoe commented, tinkering with a small device. I mean, they wiped out our planet. The official mission is diplomatic, Ellie clarified. But I've been given discretion in how we proceed if diplomacy fails. Dr. Chen smiled her unsettling smile again. I do hope it fails. For scientific reasons, of course. We have 4 months of travel time, Ellie continued. During that time, we'll train, prepare, and learn everything we can about the Zolarians. Dave has all the files from the outpost. I've taken the liberty of translating their complete bureaucratic code, Dave announced. It's 17,342 pages long and makes human tax law look like a children's book. The section on planetary demolition procedures alone is enough to induce existential despair. Fantastic, Jack muttered. We're avenging humanity against the galaxy's accountants. The journey to the Nexus system was long and tense. The crew trained relentlessly, simulating every possible first contact scenario from peaceful negotiation to all-out combat. Ellie spent hours studying Zolarian culture, language, and weaknesses, while Zoe modified their weapons to penetrate Zolarian defenses. By the time they reached the edge of Zolarian space, the Vengeance had been transformed from a standard military vessel to a customized instrument of potential destruction, or diplomacy, depending on how things went. Approaching the Zolarian border, Dave announced as Ellie sat in the command chair. Their patrol ships have detected us but haven't changed course. Apparently, they're not concerned about a single human vessel. They will be, Ellie said quietly. Activate the stealth systems. Zoe had modified their engines to leave no ion trail, and the ship's exterior absorbed rather than reflected sensor scans. They slipped past the border patrols undetected, heading straight for the heart of the Zolarian Empire. The first glimpse of the Zolarian homeworld took their breath away. It was a gleaming jewel of a planet, surrounded by a web of space stations and shipyards. Their civilization had clearly thrived in the millennia since Earth's destruction. Look at that, Jack whispered, uncharacteristically serious. All this time, while we were struggling not to die out completely. Ellie felt her resolve harden. Dave, find us their central government complex. It's time to introduce ourselves. Calculating optimal approach. And may I just say, Commander, that your calm in the face of potential annihilation is both admirable and concerning. As they approached the planet, a massive space station came into view. According to the data they'd stolen, it housed the Central Bureaucratic Authority, the heart of the Zolarian government. Get ready, Ellie ordered as they dropped out of stealth directly above the station. Let's remind them what happens when you make a clerical error. The Zolarian Central Bureaucratic Authority was a maze of corridors and filing rooms. When the Vengeance appeared, they received a predictably bureaucratic response. Please complete Form ZX-479-B. Your case will be reviewed in 4 to 6 business cycles. Let's disappoint them, Ellie ordered as they docked. The Zolarians had grayish skin, too many fingers, and 3 eyes arranged in a triangle. The first one they encountered clutched data tablets and stared in shock. You haven't completed Form ZX-479-B, it stammered. Jack aimed his weapon. We're here about Earth's destruction. That's not my department. You need planetary demolition services. Take us to whoever's in charge, Ellie demanded. When Dr. Chen mentioned dissection, they were promptly escorted to the High Chancellor. High Chancellor Drac sat behind a desk buried under tablets, wearing elaborate robes. Who are you? I have 17 meetings scheduled. He squinted. You're not Zolarians. Commander Ellie Voss of humanity. We're here about Earth. Drac's eyes widened. Earth? That species was eradicated 3 millennia ago. Not quite, Jack said, aiming at Drac's central eye. Just really annoyed. If you have a grievance, there's a process. Forms must be filed. Earth was destroyed due to a clerical error, Ellie said coldly. Your species confused it with another planet. Well, yes, an unfortunate mix-up. The employee responsible was docked 3 days' pay. 8 billion people died for a paperwork mistake. Zoe was incredulous. It was quite substantial, Drac protested. If you insist on compensation. Our home, our history, our future, all gone because someone couldn't check an address, Ellie interrupted. And your species knew about the mistake and did nothing. Admitting the error would have required filing an intergalactic incident report. Far simpler to just move on. Dr. Chen stepped toward Drac. Commander, permission to determine if Zolarians possess a conscience. The station suddenly shuddered as something impacted its shields. Multiple ships are firing on the station, Dave reported. Shields will fail in 18 minutes. The Krel Collective, Drac moaned. They've been threatening action over tariff disputes. Do we help them? Jack asked Ellie. Yes, but with conditions. She turned to Drac. We'll assist against the Krel, but the Zolarian Empire will acknowledge the crime against Earth and provide substantial reparations. When the station shook again, Drac quickly surrendered. Fine. I'll sign the executive orders immediately. Back on the Vengeance, they confronted 7 Krel ships attacking the station. Zoe, use your modifications, Ellie ordered. The Krel demanded they withdraw. When Ellie identified herself as human, they responded, humans. Impossible. That species was eradicated. I'm getting tired of hearing that, Ellie said. Zoe disabled the lead ship with her modified deflector array. When the others attacked, Dave deployed his quantum communication jamming algorithm while Zoe targeted each ship with EMP bursts. Within minutes, the battle was over. We had a deal, Ellie reminded Drac afterward. Reparations for Earth. We are prepared to offer your species a planet in the Zolarian sector. A planet? Ellie asked. Well, technically, it's earmarked for demolition for a new hyperspace route, but I can have that order rescinded. Mostly rescinded. The demolition might still occur in about 8,000 years. How about we start by not demolishing any more planets, Jack interrupted, and you give us permanent rights. After negotiations, the deal was struck. Humanity would receive a habitable planet similar to Earth, along with technology and resources. As the Vengeance departed, Ellie felt conflicted. It doesn't feel like enough. A new planet doesn't bring back Earth. But it gives humanity a future, Jack noted. Something more than just surviving. And, Dr. Chen added, I've collected enough data on their weaknesses to keep them honest. Zoe suggested names for the colony. New Earth? Or maybe Revenge? New Earth will suffice, Ellie decided. 6 months later, the first colony ships arrived at New Earth. Standing on a hillside overlooking the settlement, Ellie watched humanity's new beginning take shape. If the Zolarians hadn't destroyed Earth, Jack said, we might never have developed the technology to come this far. That doesn't excuse what they did. No. But it's something. Then Dave made a startling discovery. I've been analyzing the Zolarian documentation. According to a footnote, 3,000 years ago, they almost mistakenly listed New Earth for demolition instead of original Earth. The error was caught at the last minute. Are you saying that Earth was destroyed because they meant to destroy the planet they just gave us? Yes. Quite the cosmic joke. Ellie began to laugh, the absurdity overwhelming their grief. I guess we're home after all. As night fell, the first human city began to glow with lights. Somewhere among the stars, a bureaucratic empire had added a new checkbox to their forms, verify planetary coordinates. Twice. Humanity had returned. This time, they wouldn't be forgotten.